Hi, everybody. We're live. I can't believe it. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for coming to my virtual book launch for The Best Week That Never Happened. I'm just going to give a little bit of time for people to join us before we leap right in. I have my tropical drink here, my blue Hawaiian. It's delicious. I hope that you are drinking something yummy as well. Hi, Dad. I also wanted to tell everyone that is watching this on Facebook that since we're broadcasting this really cool platform called StreamYard, there's a little link that my producer, Sarah, posted in the group that you can give StreamYard permission to show your name when you're commenting. So it just takes 2 seconds just to click on the link and give StreamYard permission, but it lets us see your name when you're commenting as opposed to just saying Facebook user. So if you have 2 seconds to do that, that would be really great so that we can see your names. Hey, Jess. Nice to see you. Thanks for being here. I'm just really excited for this launch. It is so much fun to be here. And oh, it's Jess's sister. Hey, Jennifer. Thank you. Hi, honey. My husband's watching from the other room. Hi, Michael. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. Well, this is definitely has been a long time coming. I am so excited to be here, and I remember when I sold my book, The Best Week That Never Happened, to my publisher, Month 9 Books. It was, hey, Peggy, good to see you. It was back in the summer of 2018. So I was pregnant with my daughter, and spring of 2020 seemed like so far away. It almost seemed like we would never get here. And now we're here. I'm just so happy to be celebrating this book being out in the world. I never imagined that it would be coming out during a global pandemic, but I'm really grateful that we're able to have this virtual launch so I can still celebrate with all of you from the comfort of your homes and everyone staying safe. And I think a silver lining of this is that everybody can attend from all over the world instead of having events in bookstores that only some local people could come to. So in some ways, this is, even better that everybody can be here and come. Oh, Stephanie's here. Hi, Stephanie. I'm so glad you liked my book. I loved yours. And Allison, shout out to any students who are here. Hi, Laurel. And Christy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And Christine, we've started. This is just kind of the very beginning while we're waiting for people to arrive. Yeah, but it's so wonderful to have all of you here. Ben celebrating with a tropical, with a glass of rosé. Yeah, my drink is very bright, but I love it. Hey, Holly. Holly got me these beautiful flowers that are currently blocked by my book overlay, but you will see them, I think, at some point. Holly got them for me. There they are. Thanks, Sarah. They're so pretty. Hi, Amanda. Hey, Mikey. Oh, I love you too. Okay, well, I made myself some little notes. I want to make sure I don't forget anything that I want to say. I feel really nervous, even though it's just me, talking with my computer. I'm just really hoping that I don't forget anything important that I wanted to say. Hey, Erica. Hey, Siki. Okay, well, I'm just so grateful to everyone who has been so loving and supportive of my book. I think especially with it coming out at this time, with just the really crazy things going on in the world, I wasn't sure what to expect. I was disappointed to have to postpone my book tour that I had set up, and to borrow my friend Christy's really clever phrase, I was worried that it was going to be the best book tour that never happened. But with having this virtual event, it makes me feel like I get to celebrate with all of you. And hopefully down the line, when things calm down, I'll be able to have events at some bookstores too in person. And I really want to encourage you to support our local bookstores by ordering books online. IndieBound is a really great website that you can go to find your local independent bookstores, and just really great time to support bookstores. And thank you, Sarah, indiebound.org. And I'm just so grateful to everyone who has made me feel so supported and loved during the launch of my book. It almost felt like my professional wedding when my book came out, just because I felt so just encircled by love and support from everyone. I got so many wonderful text messages and Facebook comments and emails from people purchasing the book, telling friends about it, leaving reviews, and especially in this time where all of us are kind of disconnected from each other, at least, you know, having face-to-face meetings, I just feel so connected to all of you and just so supported and loved, and it just means the world to me. So I really want you to know just how much I appreciate every one of you, and thank you for just making the launch of my book even beyond my wildest dreams. Like, I don't know if you saw, we're an Amazon #1 for the print book and Amazon #2 new release for the Kindle version, which is just, I never imagined that. So thank you so much. It's because of your support that the book is doing so well and finding its readers. And I just really hope that it can bring a little bit of an escape or a solace to readers, you know, during this time. I think it's a fun way to be able to travel to Hawaii from the comfort of our homes. And I know for me, especially during times that are stressful or I'm feeling anxious, reading is always just more of a comfort to me than ever before. So I really hope that my book can be a comfort to people during these times, and can help people, you know, feel connected and just maybe be able to escape the anxieties of the world for a little bit. I also want to thank everyone so far who has done reviews on Amazon and Goodreads, Barnes & Noble, or wherever you purchase the book. It really makes a big difference, and it doesn't have to be a super long review. It could just be a couple sentences. It just really makes a difference for people finding out about the book. My publisher says it's really important. So thank you so much to everyone who's already done a review. It really means a lot to me. Let's see. Okay, I want to go in right now to the fun trivia game that we're having today as part of this book launch. So if you go to the Facebook group, you'll see I've listed 4 questions, and there's actually also a bonus 5th question that my dad added that he reminded me of something that happened when I was a teenager. So there are 4 questions, and what you can do, I'm going to give the answers at the very end of the book launch. So anytime before then, you can go in there and share your answers. Oh, thank you so much, Kay. She loves the book already. Thank you. So the trivia questions are: number 1, what is my favorite writing snack? Number 2, how many unpublished novels have I written before The Best Week That Never Happened? Number 3, in the book, the character Tegan has a tattoo. Where is it and what is it? Question number 4, how old was I when I self-published my first book? And question number 5, bonus question, what best-selling young adult author did I meet when I was a teenager at the Adventures for Kids bookstore in Ventura, my hometown? So if you would like to answer any of those questions, you only have to get one right, and I will mail you some fun free goodies. I have some really cool temporary tattoos. These were designed by my wonderful and talented artistic brother, Greg. This one is a little gecko, which is in the novel. And then this one is, I keep pointing the wrong direction. This one is an hourglass. And then I also have some bookmarks and some little postcards. And so if you get even just one question right in the trivia game, I will send you all of those. The other fun thing I'm doing is a giveaway. Oh, thank you, Sarah. So there's the trivia prizes. And then I'm also doing a giveaway for some cool things. So at the end of this virtual launch live stream, I will give a secret code. And if you go to, I have a Google form set up. And if you go to the Google form, there's the address. It's bit.ly/bestweekprizes. You can enter the secret code to be entered for the giveaway. And there are also options that you can get bonus entries if you do other things like purchase a copy of the book, share about the book on social media, leave a review of the book. So you can get a lot of bonus entries. Oh, my cousin Amanda, thank you so much. She still has her original copy of my self-published book from on her bookshelf. So the prizes are, the first prize is a cool literary themed t-shirt. I actually have the same one. My sister-in-law, Allison, got it for me, and I just love it so much. It's Dr. Seuss inspired, and it's all about reading. So I purchased another one, and I'm also going to be giving you a $25 gift certificate to Mrs. Dalloway's Books, which is a local bookstore where I was planning to do my in-person book launch, but it's been postponed. But they're a great bookstore, so you will get the shirt and a gift certificate for $25 for prize number one. Prize number two are some wonderful books by some of my favorite young adult authors, including some fellow 2020 debut authors, and including my two wonderful author friends who are going to be on here with me later doing the Q&A. So Tobie Easton is a wonderful author of the Mer Chronicles, and I'm giving away the first book in the series called Emerge. And then Jennieke Cohen, her debut, Dangerous Alliance, came out in December. So she was just barely a 2019 debut. It's also fabulous. And then The Gravity of Us by Phil Stamper, Woven in Moonlight by Isabel Ibanez, and Love Boat Taipei by Abigail Hing-Wen are some other wonderful 2020 debuts that I'll be giving away for prize number two. And then prize number three is a really cute mug with a sea turtle on it, which has significance in the book. And not pictured, I also have some yummy tea, a candle, and a little writing journal that I'll be sending your way for prize number three. So to enter the giveaway, keep watching till the very end, and I will share the secret code, which you can enter into the Google form to enter to win those prizes. Okay, the other thing I wanted to mention here at the beginning is that I would love to visit book clubs or do virtual visits with schools. So if you're interested in anything like that, please feel free to message me, visit my website, dallaswoodburnauthor.com, and you can contact me. I would love to schedule a visit to your book club or to your school. I really enjoy doing visits like those. And I even have a book club kit that you can download on my website for free. And it has some recipes relating to the book and some other fun things in there. So wanted to just let you all know about that. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you about is I've started a website that is called The Best Week Project. And the website is thebestweekproject.tumblr.com. And you can go on there and read people's descriptions of the best week of their life. So on the website, I just ask the simple question, what was the best week of your life and why? Was it so amazing? And people can submit short written reflections. They can submit photos, artwork, music, anything you want just to share about the best week of your life. It's been really neat to read people's stories and to see some of the common threads between our stories of what makes a week the best week of our lives. Some are stories of traveling, others are stories of just kind of everyday beautiful moments in our lives. So I would love to hear your best week stories, or if you know anyone who might be interested in submitting, please share the link. It's been a really fun project, and I think it's a cool question to reflect on a little bit. Okay. I think that is all for just kind of this beginning housekeeping stuff. We're going to go into now watching the book trailer, and then I'm going to come back and tell you some behind the scenes info about the book, and then we're going to head straight on into the Q&A. So Sarah's going to roll the book trailer, and I'll see you in a minute when that's over.
I open my eyes and I'm in Hawaii with no memory of how I got here. No wallet, no cell phone, no plane ticket. What happened? This worried feeling in the pit of my stomach is becoming more and more difficult to ignore. But Kai is so happy to see me again that it's easy to get swept away in the vacation of my dreams. He promises to help me figure out what is going on, but I have the strongest sense that after this week, my life will never be the same.
Yay! Thanks, Sarah, for playing that. I'm so thrilled with my book trailer. I want to give a shout out to Demi Bernice Eslet, who did all the videography for the trailer, and then Brian Murphy, he edited the audio, and he also edits the audio for my podcast, so he's amazing. So I wanted to just give a little bit of background about the book and give you some fun facts about it before we go into the Q&A. So this book, if I were to summarize it in a sentence, I like to say that it is a love story set in Hawaii with a dash of mystery and magic about living each day to the fullest. And it is in the young adult genre, but I've been really delighted to hear from a lot of readers who say that they have never read a young adult book before, or they don't normally think of themselves as young adult readers, who really enjoy the book. Actually, even my 93-year-old grandfather is currently reading it. Thanks, Gramps. So I hope that people of all ages really enjoy it. And the idea for this novel came to me when I was at a really low period of my life. I actually wasn't writing very much. I had lost one of my closest and dearest friends in a car accident, Celine, at the age of 26. It was so sudden, and I was just deep in grief. I was totally lost, and I didn't see the point of writing anymore. I mean, why do you care about mining the psyches of your characters when one of your closest friends has just passed away? So I was really struggling with, I guess, finding my purpose and finding out like why I should even continue writing. And it was a few months after she passed away, probably like 6 months, when I just got this idea for this story, and it wouldn't leave me alone. It just stuck in my brain, and it just really captivated me. And I almost think that maybe Celine sent me the idea, but I started writing again, and I got to know these characters and followed their story along. And I didn't even realize it while I was writing the first draft. I only realized it when I went and read through it after I'd completed the book. that I was writing about Celine. I mean, she's really present in the book, and I was making my way through a lot of my grief and my pain and my sadness and my anger, and letting those emotions out onto the page. And so this book has been a journey for me, both as a writer, but also just, as a person. And I think it's just shown me how the creative process can be really healing. And so it's just so beautiful to have the book out in the world now, and just hear that it's resonating with people, and bringing emotion up in other people. I just really hope that Celine would be really proud of it. So one thing that's been fun to hear from some people who know me or know some details of my life is they will find little like Easter eggs in the book. So in the same way that in video games, sometimes designers will hide little Easter eggs. In my writing, I don't intentionally do it normally. It just kind of comes out, little details from my own life that make their way onto the page. I guess sometimes things are intentional, like the last name of my main character, Tegan. Her last name is Rossai, which was actually my great grandma's name on my mom's side. So I intentionally like to sometimes put little things like that in there. But often other details come in that I'm not even like consciously aware of. But then it can be fun to have those little personal things in the book. And when friends read it or family members read it, they say, "Oh, I found this little Easter egg." Okay, saying page 55. So I wanted to share a few of them with you, just to kind of bring you into the fold of the behind the scenes about the book. And Sarah just is giving a quick reminder. We've had some comments come up that just say Facebook user. If you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, you can just give StreamYard permission so that we can see your name and we know who is making the comments. Oh, thank you, Julie. So I have here 7 little things from my life that are in The Best Week That Never Happened, little Easter eggs to share with you. The first one is that Kai has a dog that he talks about with Tegan named Makana, who is a grizzled boxer dog. And if any of you ever met my grizzled boxer dog, Murray, I'm gonna start crying, but he passed away last year. But Makana is definitely a nod to my dog, Murray, our family dog, who was just such a vibrant source of life and joy and laughter in our lives. So it was fun to get to put Murray in the book in that way. The second thing is that Kay was saying on page 55, Tegan is looking at Kai's bookshelf, and that was a fun opportunity for me to get to put some little Easter eggs in there, thinking about what books do I want to put on Kai's bookshelf. The first one, To Kill a Mockingbird, is probably my favorite book of all time. So I wanted Kai to have that book too. There's also a book on there, Strawberries in Wintertime. That is a book written by my dad, Woody Woodburn. He's a wonderful writer. He's a journalist, newspaper columnist. He writes books as well. And Strawberries in Wintertime is his book of columns that he's written of nonfiction essays. That is wonderful. So that is on the shelf. And then also The Particular Sadness of Lemon Cake. That is a book written by one of my dearly beloved creative writing professors that I had when I was a student at USC, Amy Bender. She's fabulous, and her book is fabulous. So that is also on Kai's shelf as well. Number 3, another little inside for people who have ever met my husband. Kai in the book is obsessed with sour gummy candy. If you've met my husband, he can put that stuff away. He loves sour gummy candy. And especially there are these sour rainbow belts that Kai alludes to, that my husband still talks about, that he found when we were in Hawaii before. Oh, hey, Sharon. Sharon also loves Amy Bender. Thanks for being here, Sharon. Okay, number 4. In the book, Kai and Tegan go to a restaurant called the Blue Oasis. And this is actually a real restaurant on the Big Island. It's based on a place called the Blue Dragon. And it's a really neat restaurant. As soon as I went there, I wanted to put it into a story. And also Tegan orders something called the living salad, which is something that my sister-in-law, Allison, ordered there. And it was so cool. I just had to put it in a book. So when you get to that part of the story, that is actually a real restaurant and a real dish you can order there. Number 5, Tegan tells a story about a stranger paying for her family's dinner when she was a little girl growing up, and how they didn't know who paid for it in the restaurant, and so it could have been anyone, so it was everyone, and it just made her feel like the world was a more generous place. And that actually is something that happened to my family when I was little. We were at a restaurant and we were waiting for the check and waiting for the check. My brother and I were quite little, so to us it felt like an eternity that the waiter wasn't coming back. And then finally the waiter came back and he told us that the reason he hadn't brought the check was because a random act of kindness, a person in the restaurant had thought we looked like a really nice family enjoying a meal and paid for our dinner, and he didn't want us to know, I guess, who he or she was. Who he or she was, and so they left before they told us. And so that was just, it really stuck with me, and it's something that I've been trying to do since then. Like, it's just a fun random act of kindness to do, especially if I'm ever in a restaurant and I see someone who has served our country in the military. I like to try to pay for their meal, but in secret is the best way to do it. Number 6, I saw my cousin Amanda already alluded to this in the comments, on the popsicle sticks that Kai and Tegan have towards the end of the book, when they have these quotes on them. So instead of jokes, they have these quotations on them. And one of them is "Make each day your masterpiece," which is one of my favorite quotes of all time. It was said by John Wooden, the late, great UCLA basketball coach, who we actually got to meet when I was little. My dad is a sports columnist, and we got to meet him. It was just truly astounding. He is one of the best people I've ever met, and I just love that idea of making each day a masterpiece. So I wanted to include that in the book. And then the other quote is "Fortune favors the bold," which is another one of my favorite quotes by Virgil. So that was fun to put those in there. And then the last one, last little Easter egg I want to tell you is, I mentioned my friend Celine, who really inspired this book and who is in the book, just her spirit. And Kai's family boat that Kai and Tegan go on is called Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. But Lucy is spelled Lucie. And that was Celine's middle name. So that is just my little tribute to her directly. It was nice to be able to name that boat after her. So those are some Easter eggs. There are others. If you find others in there, you can message me. It's always fun to see people finding little Easter eggs in the book. But now I'm really excited to move into our Q&A portion. So I'm really happy and thrilled to welcome 2 of my dear friends with me today. The first is Tobie Easton. She's the author of the Mer Chronicles, and I just love her work. She's a wonderful human being. Hey, Tobie.
Hey.
And if anyone listens to my podcast, you can listen to an interview with her, episode 2 of the podcast as well. And then I'm also really happy to have Jennieke Cohen here too. She wrote the amazing book, Dangerous Alliance. And she is also such a lovely person, and she's interviewed on my podcast, episode 3. So if you want to hear interviews with them after, you can listen to the podcast, and I would highly recommend their books as well. I know we are all looking for some good quarantine reading right now, and you cannot miss with the Mer Chronicles and with Dangerous Alliance. So thank you both so much for being here.
We're so excited. Hi, we're so happy to
be
here.
Thanks for having us
with you.
Yay! Thank you.
We have all sorts of great questions for you.
Yes, I'm so excited.
We do. And I've got my like Hawaiian inspired dress and my little plant and,
I love it.
And even some Hawaiian tea, because I was like, I wish we could be in Hawaii right now. Actually, that would be great. But
we're virtually probably there.
No, and I have a really bright.
Anyway, we've got lots of great questions.
Yeah, no, I went for my like super bright sweater to celebrate, but it doesn't look quite so bright with this lighting, but you have to believe me, it's like neon orange.
I like it. It's perfect.
So we'll take a second and introduce ourselves, and then we'll dive in. And we have so many great questions about this book. We're so excited to share so many behind the scenes tidbits with everyone. So I'm Tobie Easton. Hi, I'm the author of the Myrrh Chronicles series. And the first thing that I wanted to ask is, every book has some kind of starting point. And you talked a little bit about where you were coming from when you started this book, and that it came from, you know, this place of grief for you, which I think it's so beautiful to be able to create this wonderful new thing out of a tragedy. And I really, you know, admire you so much for that. And I know I had read in a blog post you did that you said that at the time you didn't even really realize that that's what you were doing. So then I wanted to know, when you actually started, kind of what was the seed of the idea? Because I know, like, for me, when I sat down to write the Myrrh Chronicles, I just thought, I had this thought while I was swimming that was like, what if mermaids lived on land? Right? And it was that question. And like, once that question occurred to me, that's where it all started for me. So I guess, like, where did it all start for you? What was that initial seed?
Yeah. For me, I usually start with character, but for this one, the scene of the opening scene of the book where Tegan wakes up in these lava tubes in Hawaii and she has no recollection of how she got there, that was this opening image that came to me. And then also I just had this idea kind of about this idea of like the best week, this idea of like a best week of someone's life. And so that was also just sort of the seed that was planted. And then I also love Hawaii. And I think that some of the images of Hawaii, the manta rays especially, was this image or scene that was kind of pulling me through the book for a lot of the writing.
Interesting.
I love the manta ray scene. It's really interesting, and also, like, I mean, I won't give anything away, but it's sort of like a pivotal scene, and it's a good way to show like what great friends Kai and Tegan become, you know, the main characters of your book. And so I want to ask about, they have a long distance relationship or a friendship that that becomes something more in the course of the novel. So what was the inspiration for their relationship?
Yeah, I love the idea of I guess long distance, either friendships or relationships, because a lot of my close friendships are people that I don't get to see in person, you know, nearly as much as I wish I could. Friends from college, from grad school, growing up in my hometown. I think I have a lot of relationships that are really sustained on phone calls and video calls and emails. And I think I've been really touched and just happy to see how those relationships can continue to deepen and grow stronger over time, even when you're not seeing someone in person all of the time. And then also my husband and I, we had a summer when we were long distance, when we were dating, when he went out to New Orleans for this internship. And I was thinking about that a little bit when I was writing too. But then it was really fun to kind of have all of this buildup where they hadn't seen each other in such a long time. And then the book starts and, you know, they're together in person again. And so just thinking about what that would be like to be reunited, to be with this person again that you haven't seen for so long. There's a lot of excitement there, but there's also some anxiety and some fear and potential awkwardness. And so it was a nice relationship, a nice situation to be able to mine as a writer.
That's really interesting. And I think that one of the things that really stands out about this book is not only their relationship, but almost how the setting becomes its own character. Like, Hawaii is this just really rich and vivid setting. And so I wanted to know kind of what went into your decision to set it in Hawaii. And, you know, clearly you were talking about, you put in some real places and things like that to really get that vivid feel, but where did that kind of start?
Yes, thank you for saying that the setting becomes the character. I love that. And that was my hope for the story, was that you would feel really immersed as you're reading. I also really wanted to make sure that I portrayed Hawaii in an authentic way, in a respectful way. in addition to traveling there myself, I did a lot of research, and on my website, I actually have a list of some of my favorite books by Native Hawaiian authors that I read and loved during the process of writing this book that I would really recommend. I think a lot of my process, as I talk about it, I'm, realizing isn't always very conscious. So I didn't have the thought like, I'm going to set a book in Hawaii. It more just kind of sprung up, the story idea sprung up, and it was set in Hawaii. It was just an integral part of it. And reflecting on it now, I think I grew up by the beach. I grew up in a beach town called Ventura in Southern California. So I love the beach. I find myself writing about the beach often. And then Hawaii, sorry, I need to get more of my drink. I'm not used to talking so much.
I'll type in and say that I have a couple cousins who lived in Ventura for a while when I was a kid. And so we used to go visit them there, yeah.
Ventura, 805. Yeah, I love Ventura. Yeah, and then but also as I reflected on it, I think just Hawaii is an important place for me. I say this in the acknowledgments, but in the same way that it's an important place for Tegan in the book, like emotionally. My grandma, who passed away when I was 5, she loved Hawaii, and they traveled. My grandfather and her traveled there often. And always when I think of her, like in heaven, I just kind of imagine her in Hawaii. And then my friend Celine, I don't know if this also wove its way into my subconscious, that we had talked about wanting to go to Hawaii together. We never made it together, but she did travel there shortly before she passed away. And so I don't know if those are some reasons that the story just sprung up in my head out of Hawaii, but I've really been really happy to hear from people who say that Hawaii feels so real in the book. It feels authentic. Like even some people who, live in Hawaii, were born in Hawaii, have given me wonderful compliments about that. And so that makes me just feel really happy.
That's great. Yeah. I grew up like going on vacation to Hawaii pretty often. And so I love what you've done, because it was like reminding me of my own life and when I used to go there and make friends and then go home, and you're like, well, now I'm home again. Not that home isn't great, but Hawaii is also great. So anyway, yeah. And obviously, and I think you cover that stuff really well in the book. So who of your characters was your favorite to write? And as a follow-up, like how much of Tegan, your main character, is based on you?
Yeah, I think probably my favorite character trait was Kai. He is based on my husband, which people have told me, oh my gosh, Kai is like the dream guy. And I am super lucky. My husband's getting a little bit of a big ego though, with all these comments. He knows Kai is based on him, but I am really lucky. And so writing about Kai, I think I just felt so much love for Kai from the very beginning, because he's based on my husband, and I just am so fond of him. And so he was really fun to write, and it almost felt like revisiting the early days of our love story, when we were first falling in love, writing Kai and Tegan's love story. Tegan does have some of me in her. I think all of my characters do. There were certain things I tried to make different from me. Like Tegan loves science and math, even though those subjects were not my favorite in school. But it was fun to try to mine some of that part of her personality. And she also thinks of herself as being very like brave and fearless. And she never cries, which is very different from me. I can worry, and I definitely am very emotional. And so I think I have there's a lot of me in her, but there were certain things that I was trying to make her different from me as well. So they were both really fun to write. And I also always enjoy about the writing process, seeing how characters really come to life. And at the beginning, it feels like I'm creating them, but partway through the story, towards the end, it feels like they are revealing new things about themselves to me, and they are growing and changing and kind of acting on their own, which is just, for me, one of my favorite parts of the creative writing process.
Yeah, that's really interesting to kind of see how characters develop over the course of while you're writing something. And then kind of by the time you get to the end, very often they've revealed, they started in one place and you've kind of fully realized who they are by the time you finish. And something else that I tend to do, and for me, I have to wait until I'm completely done with a book to do this, and I want to know how it works for you. But when I'm completely done with a book, I literally go through scene by scene and I figure out when it happened in terms of a timeline, like what day of the week, could it have been a weekend? Did they need to be in school? Is it October? Like how, and then after that, I figure out, okay, well then how many months did my book take place on, and how long did it take these relationships to develop? Is that realistic? Do I need to go back and tweak things, right? But your book takes place over the course of 1 week, which I've never yet conquered that particular challenge. So I really want to hear all about what that was like, how that was as a writer. Like, how do you approach a book that takes place all in 1 week? It kind of reminds me of like Romeo and Juliet, which takes place in like 4 days, and always kind of blew my mind. So I want to know about that.
Yeah. I've never written a book with such a tight timeline before. And I think one of the challenges of it was trying to show a change in the characters, like show this growth happening, show this narrative arc and these character arc over such a short amount of time. But the days are all so full that it does feel, to me when I was writing it, and maybe to the reader as well, it does feel like longer than a week has passed. I think emotionally for the characters, it's like, it's one of those weeks, but it also reminds me of when you are on vacation. I do feel like when you're seeing a new place, doing these new things, like time does pass differently in our awareness of time. And I can travel somewhere for a week and I feel like, oh my gosh, that seemed so much longer than a week that I just would spend at home. So I think there were those two things going on. But then as far as organizing the book, I'm not too much of an outliner, but I did have sort of a vague outline of what would happen each day of the week. And so it kept me on track as I was writing, but while still giving me a lot of freedom, because each day is quite a long chapter, like a lot of pages to play around with and find out some discoveries with the characters. But it kind of just gave me a little sense of, as I was going, like what was coming next. So it helped me stay organized.
That's good. Yeah, I think my book takes place in like within a couple weeks, or maybe 3 at the most. But like, it's very like, it's always tough to figure out where the timeline is. And I guess unless you do it up front, which perhaps you did. I don't know. Is that true that you kind of knew going in that it was going to be?
Yeah, I kind of knew it was going to be a week, but some days did swap around. And at the beginning, I had some days that were blank, like I don't know what's going to happen on Thursday. Like we'll just hopefully something will come to mind. But I do like Allison pointed out here in the comments, it has some really fun now the book's out in the world, to hear people who were reading it and saying like, oh, I'm on Monday, I'm on Thursday, like I'm on Friday. It's just been a fun
really
way
cool
to see where people are, as opposed to having all the numbered chapters.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so back to Hawaii stuff, because I don't know, that's stuff that resonates with me, I guess. But you have this part in the book where you talk, where Tegan and Kai, they go snorkeling and they swim with a sea turtle. They call them hanu, I believe, in Hawaiian, which I think is great. And I don't know why, but I do. And then, I had some really fun times snorkeling with sea turtles myself. And I just got the impression from that scene that you had also. And so I was curious if you had like a special sea turtle experience that you want to tell us about.
Yeah, I did. One of my first times going snorkeling, we saw a sea turtle in Hawaii, and it was just so magical. I just think sea turtles are really, it just really struck me as a really magical creature. I was amazed at how they look like they're swimming so slowly, but are actually swimming quite fast, and how old they are. And just as Tegan reflects, like thinking that this could have been the same sea turtle that she and Kai saw when they were kids, come back. And I wanted, throughout the book, there are certain animals and creatures that appear, and I guess I wanted them to be kind of like a thread in the book of providing some wisdom or connection for the characters. Often you'll notice in the book when Tegan will see an animal, whether it's the sea turtle or the geckos, it causes her to have some deeper reflection. And so I think that was also kind of where the sea turtle came into the story as well. It was a cool experience that I had in my life. And then I also wanted, thematically, I thought as a symbol, the sea turtle was something neat to bring into the story.
Yeah, that's great. And I love the other animals too. The gecko, and then the I can't remember the name of them, but the fish that like climb up Akaka Falls.
Yes,
that was
the
super cool.
Oopu Alamo.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd never heard of them. That was great.
No, I love the
they're really neat.
too. I feel like that's one of those things that if you go snorkeling in Hawaii and you're lucky enough to see a sea turtle, it kind of really sticks with you. I saw some when I went snorkeling with my now husband on our engagement trip. We were in Hawaii and we went snorkeling, and we saw sea turtles, and that's one of those things that just like once you see it, it stays. And so I think it works really well as a resonance symbol.
Thank you. That's so neat that you saw them with your husband.
Yeah, it was. So anyway, I don't know. I love that. And I love the idea of that kind of being something you reflect on and being something that makes you think. And then the other thing that I wanted to ask you is, okay, so the books, like in the Mer Chronicle series, I knew the ending of each book from the get-go. Like before I put pen to paper or fingers to keys, I knew what those book endings were going to be. And I thought it would be like that for every project that I write. And then the most recent book that I just finished, I changed the ending of the book partway through. Like I realized that it wasn't quite working, and I made some tweaks before I completed that project. And so without spoiling anything and without, giving away anything, was the ending of this book always what you envisioned as the ending, or kind of did it meander a bit from what you thought it would be?
It did meander a bit. When I first got the idea, I thought it was going to end differently. And I've used this analogy before, I think on my podcast, but I'll say it again, that when I'm writing a novel, I always picture myself like swimming across this giant body of water. And it's like, I can see the shoreline on the other side, kind of this like dim shoreline through the mist. But sometimes, like you're saying, Tobie, I kind of veer off course, or as I'm swimming, I end up somewhere different on the shoreline than I'm first shooting out going towards. So this book was like that, where partway through I realized that it was going to end differently than I had originally thought it might end. But to me, when I got to the end, it felt like this was the way the book was meant to end. Like this
kind
was
of inevitable,
the way
right?
it wanted. Yes, it had this inevitable feeling. So for me, that's the sense of the right ending. Like it's not something that I, the writer, am trying to force. It's the ending that sort of comes up from the project creatively. So I've been pleased to hear that most people that I hear from really love the ending. So I'm glad.
I really like the ending, I have to say.
Oh,
I have to ask you when we get off, like what the ending was. But I don't want to ask here because I don't want you to have to spoil anything for anybody. So, all right. Well, one of the other themes that you have in the book is fear, and that fear keeps the characters from doing what they really are maybe destined to do. And so, for example, you have Tegan, who's pushing away Kai for many years because she's like afraid of her feelings, and Kai is also kind of worried about going to college because of he'll have to leave home and it's scary. So I was curious, like, what made you want to deal with fear as a theme, and if it's something that you've dealt in your own life that you actually that you want to talk about in any way that's not too revealing if you don't want it to be.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think that fear is something that we all deal with in our lives. And especially when I was thinking about writing a love story, love is so amazing. And to me, it's just the heart of life. It's like why we're here. But there's also a lot of fear wrapped up in loving someone as well. And it takes a lot of courage and bravery to open yourself up and to let yourself fall, and to really love someone, hugely and bravely. And I think to me too, it's wrapped up in loss. Like loving someone is really scary because at some point we're going to have to, say goodbye. We're going to lose them. And so to me, it's just a huge act of bravery to love. And so that was what I wanted to be one of the main themes of this book, was this idea of instead of pushing things away that we're afraid of, really embracing them, and that it's okay if we're afraid. It doesn't mean that we're not supposed to do that thing. And I think as a writer too, like if I'm talking about creative fear, if I have a project that makes me a little bit scared, it usually is a sign for me that that is the project I should be working on. Like it means that I'm pushing myself, I'm stretching myself, I'm growing through that project. So if I feel a little bit afraid, like, I don't know if I can write this, to me, that is a sign to me that I should lean in and, go all in on that project.
Yeah, that's great. I agree.
Should we open it up, do you think, to some questions from the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. If people want to, type in their questions, we would love to get questions from you guys.
Absolutely. Please.
Maybe we'll just take like one or two more.
We can keep going.
Yeah, because I can't believe we're already almost at like 50 minutes. And so I have a few things to say, wrap up. I don't want to take up too much of people's time today. Thank you all so much for being here. But maybe we could just take like one or two more questions. Or actually, I know we're doing a rapid fire round. So maybe we should just do one more question and then the rapid fire round.
Yeah. Oh, but it looks like somebody has their own question, so we can do that first, then we can go and do some lightning round while everybody's typing up their questions.
Yeah, and I wanted to say also, people, if you have the questions, if you write them in the Facebook group or on YouTube, if we don't get a chance to get to your question, I will answer it after this. Like I will type you an answer, so you'll get your question answered.
Well, we have one, which is that, are the Hawaiian legends and lore true?
Oh, that's from my dad. Hey, Dad. Yes, so there are a variety of legends and lore from Hawaii in the book. It was really fun to research. Some of them, like the fish that climb up the waterfall, I learned just kind of by happenstance while I was in Hawaii or reading about Hawaii. And then others I did more research. But yes, they're all true. And it was such a rich, wonderful culture to learn about and to write about. It looks like we have a few more. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so let's see, we were going to ask you this anyway. What projects can we get excited for next? What are you working on?
Yeah, I am working on another young adult novel right now. Like The Best Week That Never Happened, it also has a romance. It has some mystery, some magic. It is challenging me. I have multiple character perspectives in this book I'm working on. So The Best Week That Never Happened just takes place in Tegan's perspective. Besides, we have some emails from Kai interspersed throughout the book, but it's mainly in Tegan's voice. The project I'm working on right now has 2 point of view characters that the chapters alternate between them. So that's been a fun challenge. And it deals with the idea of parallel universes. So that's been really fun to research and to write about. And it takes place in a town that is based a lot on my hometown of Ventura. So another beach read.
Parallel universes are one of my favorite things. So that sounds so interesting.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
It looks like Julie wants to know more about the editing process, which we haven't really talked about. So that would be good to talk about.
Yeah. Hey, Julie. Thanks for being here. The editing process for me is always a really fruitful process. I know some writers don't enjoy editing, but for me, it's like a neat challenge. I feel most nervous during the first draft of the book, but once I have the first draft done, I feel excited to kind of dive back in and to try to make it even better and to make sure that that it's just the closest I can get to the book in my head, just the shining, perfect book in my head. So for me, this book went through a lot of edits. So I finished the first draft in about 6 months, and then I spent another year editing it before I got my literary agent, and then we edited it some together. And then when my publisher bought the book, then we did like developmental edits, and then finally you get to copy editing and proofreading. But it was amazing to me how each stage of the editing process, I felt like, okay, this is it. This is the best book I could write. Like, it's the best it can get. It's done. And then I would get new suggestions, new ideas, new edits, and it would become even better. And even some of the things in the book, I don't want to say them to spoil what they are, but some like kind of big parts of the book came when my publisher gave me some developmental edits and just stretched me and pushed me to make the book even better. And so I'm really grateful for the editing process. I think for me, the first draft, I have to not have any editing or critical voices in my head. I just have to get it out on the page. But then after that, having trusted friends and fellow writers to help me edit is such an important part of the process.
Yeah, you really do grow with each stage, and so does the book. Sorry to make
it's amazing.
So okay, we have a question from Amanda. How long did the book take you to write?
So yeah, it took me about 6 months to do the first draft. And then which was pretty fast for me, actually. Usually first drafts would take me longer, but with this book, I really committed to writing every single day and putting my creative time like first in my schedule, making it a priority. And so the book just really took off and took on a life of its own, and the drafting process went a lot quicker. And then so I finished the first draft. Took me a year to get my agent of editing. I edited that whole time, and then my publisher bought it in the summer of 2018, and then it just came out. So it's been a long process since I first got the idea for this book. So yeah, it's just so exciting to have it out. Do you guys think should we move on to the lightning round, and I will answer other people's questions later? I just don't want to take up too much time from people. I can't believe we're already at 56 minutes in. So maybe we'll do the lightning round, and then I'll answer other questions later.
Sounds good, Jennieke. You want to start us off?
Okay. Hogwarts house.
Oh, Hogwarts house. I would say
quick.
I would say Hufflepuff.
Okay.
Oh, cool. Another Hufflepuff. No, I'm not a Hufflepuff, but I like to know Hufflepuffs because I feel like I know fewer of them. Okay. Morning or night writer?
Night. Except now my daughter gets me up really early, so morning. But preferred night.
Gotcha.
Tea or coffee?
Tea. Green tea, for sure.
Must-have writing snack.
Oh, that's answering a trivia question.
Oh, okay. We'll skip that.
Okay. Book boyfriend.
Book boyfriend. Kai.
Okay. All right.
Sweet or salty?
Sweet.
Music or silence while you write?
Music. And actually, I forgot to mention, I have a playlist. If you go to my website or you search Spotify for The Best Week That Never Happened, it's the playlist that I was listening to while I was writing this book.
Cool.
So that's kind of cool.
Okay, pool or ocean?
Ocean.
Okay, and then ice cream or hollow hollow?
Oh, hollow.
Nice.
Yay!
I mean, both are great.
So fun. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to you both. I really love celebrating with you. And everyone should check out Tobie's Mer Chronicles and Jennica's Dangerous Alliance. They're amazing.
Thank you, Dallas. Thanks so much for having us. We're so happy to celebrate with you. And we're excited that the best week that never happened is out in the world. Yay!
Yay! Thank you both. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Well, I can't believe this has gone by so fast. I can't believe that wrapping up now. Thank you all so much for sticking with me this whole time and for asking such wonderful questions. And I can't wait to celebrate with you all in person once we are through this stage where we are right now and we can be out in the world. And I'm hoping to have some bookstore events in the future. So I can't wait to hug all of you in person and sign your books. But I wanted to get to the answers to the trivia questions. So question number 1, what is my favorite writing snack? It is dark chocolate. So I will accept anything chocolate in your answer. I love, in particular, Trader Joe's chocolate-covered blueberries are amazing. And you can tell with snacks how the writing is going. If I am eating a lot of snacks, it usually means I'm kind of stuck. If I just eat like 2 blueberries, chocolate-covered blueberries, and then I get into the story, it means it's like a good writing day. So my husband knows if he comes in and I have this like pile of chocolate wrappers, it's been kind of a tough writing day for me. Question number 2, how many unpublished unpublished novels did I write before the best week that never happened? I have 3, the answer is 3 unpublished novel manuscripts. I hope that they might get published one day. You never know. But I do feel like the best week that never happened was the book that was meant to come into the world first. So it works out the way it's supposed to. Question number 3, Tegan has a tattoo in the book. Where is it and what is it? It is a hourglass, and it is over her heart. Question number 4, how old was I when I self-published my first book? I was 10 years old in 5th grade at Poinsettia Elementary School. I think my 5th grade teacher, Mr. A, might even be here watching. If he is, hi, Mr. A. It was called There's a Huge Pimple on My Nose, and it was a collection of stories and poems that I wrote and illustrated. And it was such an amazing experience. I had so many wonderful teachers and friends who supported me and just like set me off on this journey of wanting to be a writer. And then there's a bonus question that my dad added at the very end today. It's just like an extra chance for you to win the trivia. And that was about a YA author that I met as a teen. And I actually met 2 at Adventures for Kids, which was a great indie bookstore in Ventura. One of them was Meg Cabot, who wrote the Princess Diaries series. She was amazing. It was so cool to meet her. And the other is Joan Bauer, who wrote Rules of the Road, Hope Was Here. She was a great person to meet as well. And when I met her, I was the only one really there in the store. So she talked to me for like 30 minutes, and it was just amazing for a young writer like me. So those are the answers to the trivia questions. I look forward to mailing you guys your goodies. And then before I forget, I want to give you the secret code to enter to get your prizes for the giveaway, to enter to win. The secret code is Blue Oasis. So the restaurant that Tegan and Kai go to in the book, Blue Oasis, that is your secret code. Enter it at the top of the form. And you also have places you can get more entries by buying the book, sharing about it on social media, or reviewing the book. So thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for making this such a special event for me. Please let me know your thoughts about the book. I would love to hear from you. And if you have a chance to review it, that would also be amazing and help me so much. So thank you all. I love you all. And thank you for just making this a really, really special event for me and for celebrating with me. So cheers. I hope that you have a best week of your own in your life starting next week. Thank you. Bye, everybody.